As part of the Clever Quality app, functionality has been added to store vendor certificates within Business Central. With the introduction of compliance documents within Clever Quality, you are able to prohibit the release of purchase orders for goods where the vendor certificate has expired. Let's first look at the setup and then let's see how this works. The first piece of setup is within the Quality Setup page. From here, if I then scroll down, you can see that within the Compliance Validator field, if I now set that to Compliance Validator version 1, vendor compliance is now mandatory. Next, I need to set up the compliance documents that I wish to store within Business Central. So to do that, I'm just going to navigate to the compliance documents list. And as you can see, I've already got 3 compliance documents set up. Each one just contains a code and a description, which can be set to whatever you need it to be. And then finally, we have a URL, should you wish to also include the link of where this certificate originates. Then within each of these lines, I can then click into the Vendor Compliance Documents option. And in here, I can now say which vendors hold these documents and if the document is just relevant across the entire vendor, like I've set up on the first line, or if the document is only relevant for a particular vendor and item number combination. Next, if I scroll all the way over to the right hand side, you can also see that I have options for item category code if the certificate is relevant across a selection of items related to that particular vendor. And then I can also enter in a requested date and a certificate date. So let's do that for this first vendor. And I'm going to say that this certificate was requested at the beginning of the year. And that it was provided also in January. And then I'm going to enter in a certificate expiration date. And that means that until that certificate expiration date has passed, that we are going to be able to raise purchase orders for this particular vendor. But then once this date passes, that we are going to receive an error message. So what I'll do, I will set an expiration date in the future for the first vendor and an expiration date in the past for the second vendor, just so we can see how that works. Finally, we have the suspended field, and that allows us to specify if this particular vendor compliance needs to be suspended, potentially if they have had a failed quality order. So with that done, now let's raise a purchase order for both vendors and see what happens. So here's the purchase order for the first vendor, who does have a valid vendor compliance document, and the expiration date is in the future. So now I'm going to post and receive this purchase order. And as you can see, that has now successfully received in the goods against the purchase order raised for vendor 10,000. Now I'm going to go to another purchase order. This time it has been created for a vendor who has a vendor compliance document number, but the expiration date is in the past. All the other information has remained the same. So again, I'm just going to post and receive in that document. And as you can see, it's come up with an error message to say that no compliance document can be found. Essentially, as the expiration date has now passed against that particular compliance document, it can no longer be used and therefore can no longer be found. So that is the compliance functionality within the Clever Quality app. And in the next video, we're going to be discussing rework orders.